Thank you for University of Seville invite me to give a speech in the opening ceremony of for the journalist student. My name is Joshua Wong. I'm one of the student activists in Hong Kong. I hope to throw into this of my profile some of my experience in the movement and what's the value behind to encourage more of the university student in Spain, the name University of Seville. While you guys in the future maybe one of the journalists can fight for the freedom of press and also fight for the human rights in different countries. Because from you guys' point of view, you guys may think that Hong Kong is just one of the business global financial center, something like that. But actually in Hong Kong, even we still have freedom of speech or freedom of expression, something like that. But actually we still can't have democracy and universal suffrage. Yeah, and in 2014, I mean in last year, while I'm 17 years old, actually the Communist parties may say that only politicians who support Communist Party could be the chief executive candidate. And actually this have motivated a lot of students and the new generation to show our disagreement. Because we may think that if we need to decide our future, the minimum requirement is let us to choose the candidate that we want to run in the election and finally become the chief executive to rule Hong Kong. And later on, I think you guys have known that on the 28th of September, we have occupied the road outside of the Hong Kong government headquarters and to show that our persistence to fight for universal suffrage and fight for direct election. We have persisted for 78 days. Even the policemen had to use pepper spray to hurt us, and they used 87 tear gas, or even it's totally unacceptable. They try to raise out a flag named Disperse or We Fight. We are really worried that it will be just the second June 4th event happen again. But anyway, we have persisted to occupy for 78 days, however without any positive outcome. And in 2015, of course, a lot of the pro-Beijing people may say that, oh, I have received the U.S. Army training, and actually I'm one of the CIA agent, or even I have really close connection with the U.S. government, and I refused to enter mainland China, Macau, and also Malaysia, and I need to go to the court because they say that I've incited illegal assembly and obstruct some of the public officers performing their duties. I would like to say is a long road for us. Of course, why Hong Kong umbrella movement have such influence that have really give a lot of pressure and impact towards the Communist Party. Actually, a lot of it is just because of the forger media, no matter in US or in UK or in Europe, have really a lot of the report and a lot of journalists have spread our message all over the world. I know you guys in Spain, in Spain you guys will have democracy, human rights, and the freedom of speech and the freedom of press is quite different with Hong Kong. Compared to Hong Kong, you guys live in Spain is really lucky. But I would like to remind all of you guys, actually, no matter what situation we face and what's the diverse or difference of Hong Kong and Spain, even in the country that have democracy, actually the ruling class is still try to dominating our future. But I still hope that the day will come that for the new generation to decide our future. No matter what happened to the protest movement, or no matter how is the progress to fight for the right of press, we still hope that the new generation will claim democracy and human rights that belong to us, because time is on our side. Of course, and what I've repeated again already is the situation in Spain and Hong Kong is quite different. But I just hope that if you guys will study and major of journalists in the future, next 3 or 4 years, hope you guys can learn what you learn what you should learn rather than just learn the skill to be a reporter or journalist. Try to know or reflect on what's the value behind of being a journalist, or try to reflect on what's the importance of protect the freedom of press. Yeah, this is the end of my sharing on how's the progress for me to fight for democracy and human rights in Hong Kong from 14 years old to 18 years old.
Dear students, teachers, and friends of University of Sevilla, it is my honor to make a speech in the beginning of your school years. We are not people easily taking action against law. As a professor, I respect rule of law and believe that it is the very foundation of individual rights and liberties. But in Hong Kong, only half of the seats in our legislative councils are elected by the people. The other half is elected through business and professional bodies, and they are usually taken up by pro-business and pro-Beijing politicians. The chief executive of our government is elected by a 1,200-strong election committee, which is also constituted mainly by pro-business and pro-Beijing people. Both the chief executive and the legislative council play a decisive role in the lawmaking process of Hong Kong, but they do not enjoy sufficient mandates from the communities. When the state is lack of legitimacy, the foundation of rule of law is shaky, as law may not be seen as reflecting people's view. We want democracy as a way to rebuild the relationship between people and the state. The Chinese government promised that by 2017, Hong Kong people could have universal suffrage in the election of our chief executive. The promise was broken when Beijing made a decision in last August that a very restricted nominating committees was to set up to screen the candidate of the chief executive elections. People like me could accept the existence of the nominating committee as long as it is truly body representative, as stipulated in our basic law. But young people such as Joshua Wong only accept public nomination without any screening from the nominating committees. Both Joshua Wong and I, however, found the proposal made by Beijing unacceptable. A series of protests and class boycott were taken place and finally led to the occupations. The proposal was later vetoed by the legislative councils in June this year. Beijing was angry because of the occupation and the vetoes exercised by the pro-democracy legislators. Some scholars and officials in Beijing concluded it was the university and media that ruined the younger generations by spreading harmful and unpatriotic ideas. In the wake of the occupations, interferences on academic freedom and freedom of press are expected. Professor Benny Tide, one of the founders of Occupy Central with Love and Peace, had just been penalized by the university for making technical mistakes when soliciting donation for holding seminar and referendum related to democracy movement. Professor Joanna Chen, a long-standing supporter of democracy and former dean of law school in the same university, was severely criticized and smeared by more than 100 articles published in state-controlled newspapers in Hong Kong and China for being sympathetic to the Occupy movement. The university was pressured not to appoint him as vice president, even if the university search committee unanimously agreed on his appointment. Fortunately, facing such a blatant violation of academic freedoms, Hong Kong people did not back down. More than 9,000 alumni of the university concerned attained a special meeting and passed a resolution to urge the university to defend its autonomies. The saga is not yet over by the time I record this video. I believe that Beijing will step up control over our education, but it will also arouse backlash from the communities by demanding a fundamental reform on the relationship between the government and the universities. China is one of the very few countries in the world that bans Facebook, YouTube, and Google. No independent media is allowed to exist, and a firewall is built to filter information coming into China. According to Freedom House 2015 survey, China is regarded as not free with a freedom rating of 6.5, not far away from the world score 7 in the scale. The lack of freedom of press in China could be best illustrated by the arrest of the famous 70-year-old journalist Gao Yu. She was sentenced to 7 years of imprisonment in April this year for leaking state secret. What the court referred to as state secret, in fact, was a document banning university and media to discuss about 7 forbidden subject matters, including independent judiciary, civil society, and freedom of press. Under such a repressive regime, you can imagine the pressure imposed on the independent and critical media in Hong Kong, as indicated by the World Press Freedom Index conducted by Reporters Without Borders. In 2002, Hong Kong was ranked at the top 18th of 134 countries. In 2015, it dropped to the position of 17th of 118 countries. Suppression of press freedom has become a word since we launched our Occupy movement in early 2013. In 2014, a senior Chinese official responsible for Hong Kong affairs openly urged the media to report that most people were against the Occupy movement. A chief editor of a newspaper later revealed that he had faced pressure from senior management to drop the regular column of some of the pro-Occupy writers. Some China-funded companies and local corporations also pulled the advertisements from some newspapers, particularly Apple Dailies and Next Magazine, to express their dismay at their coverage of Occupy movement. The House News, an influential and critical news website sympathetic to the Occupy movement, was abruptly closed down in July 2014 by the founders due to personal threat. When the umbrella movement broke out in last September, pressure to limit the space for expression became even more obvious. Reporter and photographer report injuries caused by police officers and anti-Occupy protesters when reporting the occupation. A senior administrator of a major TV station was accused by the reporter for giving order to change the wording of a story about electric kicking and punching by a group of police officers against a protester. Anti-Occupy protesters blocked the entrance of Apple Daily headquarters to disrupt the distribution of the newspaper. Its news website was also hacked, and copies of the newspaper were burned or splashed with red inks at distribution points in streets. Hong Kong is a free but undemocratic society. We are committed to fighting for democracy because we understand that liberty, such as academic and press freedom, is fragile without the protection of democracy. The rise of China as a superpower in the world does not make us enjoy more political rights, but on the contrary, pose a threat to our existing freedom. How could we defend our cities? I believe in Harvard's doctrines of power of the powerless, that is, by living in truth as a way of resistance. We must have courage to speak our minds in front of power. As long as our souls are not crushed, all political repressions are transient and could be overcome at the end. My dear students of University of Sevilla, you are very lucky living in a free and democratic country. But let me remind you that wherever there is power, there is corruption. Wherever there is capital, there is monopoly. Domination of the power and the riches can be exercised through more subtle forms, including the spread of cynicism, materialism, and commercialization of social work. Globalization and development of neoliberalism also render people vulnerable in protecting their rights. People may even give up their freedom by accepting draconian laws due to fear of terrorism and influx of migrants. You must stay alert of the imminent threat to freedom in these eras of uncertainties. As Wendell Phillips said, eternal vigilance is the price of liberties. No matter in Spain or in Hong Kong, journalists are blessed with a mission to safeguard our conscience by reporting fact so that people can live and always live in truth.